Oh, hello. Let's uh let's see how we did it last week. Unlike the Packers, Will won in a matchup against Scott there. It was a big game for everyone involved. Lions got a huge win at Lambeau, which is apparently only their second one in the past 26 games. And Will just continues to be hot these last couple of weeks. He's making things interesting for the playoffs coming up. Trisha joins the Hundo Club with a big win over, oh God, who are you playing? Marion? Marion. Matt, very close. And couches are on fire in East Lansing as disaster strikes. Michelle and I were lucky to get a tie against Amanda and Nick, who came into the week a combined 1-15. I have no excuse. Amanda's team just completely outplayed mine. Michelle, however, is convinced that Nick jinxed her. And if you look at the evidence, it does really seem like that might be the case. For example, Deshaun Watson, who had been the number one player on Michelle's team, out for the season after tearing his ACL in practice. Kirk Cousins, who had become her backup quarterback despite being the namesake for her team, turned in a paltry 7 points. Leonard Fournette was not injured but still didn't play because he broke a team rule. And this is the most incredible thing. He got 0 points and he was still Michelle's best running back on the week as Jonathan Stewart lost 2 fumbles and came in with negative 2 points. So if you're asking yourself, is Nick a witch? I think the answer is yes. Things really shook up in the Grace of the Cup. Last week, you can see here, we were in the lead, followed by Berkeley and Chicago. Madison and Cleveland bringing up the rear. This week we have a shift. Cleveland drops into 7th place as Madison inches past them. Milford and Farmington stay where they are. Berkeley drops to 3rd as Chicago takes a narrow lead and closes the gap. We're now have a double-digit lead going into the last 4 weeks of the season, right? We used to have a comfortable triple-digit lead, and now things are changing up. It wouldn't take much for someone to knock EL out of first place. We are talking about the playoffs here, and I want to remind you how I want this to work, in part because I am not sure if it will. If I have any way of making Yahoo work this way, we're going to follow the rules that I said at the beginning of the season, which is the top 3 teams in each division will make the playoffs, with the division winner getting a bye for the first round of the playoffs. These are the league settings that Yahoo allows me to set, which only guarantees that the division winners get those top playoff seeds. And I am not sure if Yahoo will allow me to give the top 3 in each division, or if it's going to be the top 6 overall in the league that get that make the playoffs. So really where you want to be is make sure you're both in the top 3 in your division and the top 6 in the league, and then there won't be any doubt. Let's see what that looks like over in the Spartan division. Trisha's got a comfortable lead for first, and going into the last 4 weeks of the season, though, she's got a pretty tough schedule. She's got this is the 10th easiest schedule, so 4th hardest schedule for the remaining 4 weeks, right? Carla is just 1 game back from her for Spartan Division lead. She's number 4 in the league, so she's currently projected to make the playoffs. She's also got an easier schedule here, so Carla's sitting pretty. Michelle and Cece are currently neck and neck for 3rd place in the division. Michelle's got her inched out just slightly, but they have the same record. A win this week could push Celia over Michelle. Unfortunately, they both have their work cut out for them, as Celia's got the second hardest schedule this week, and Michelle's not much better. Allison's on the bubble. She's 3 games back. She really only needs to make up a game or 2 in order to take that 3rd spot in the playoffs. And her schedule makes it possible. Marion's 4 games back, which means with a little help from other people, she could still make it. She's got a clear path, though, with that 6th best schedule for the remaining 4 weeks. Streak division looks very similar. I'm currently number 1 in the league, number 1 in the division. Kevin's 1 game behind me, number 3 in the division. He also has far and away the easiest schedule to close out, so he's got a good chance of not only making the playoffs but also claiming that number 1 seed. Brandon and Scott are neck and neck, number 6, number 7 overall. Brandon's currently got Scott edged out due to, I don't know, something, possibly head-to-head record. And they both have very accommodating schedules, so that 3rd spot in the streak division is going to be a real fist fight. Will is making a strong push. He's only 3 games out, and he only needs to make up 1 to potentially leapfrog Brandon or Scott. His schedule's not doing him any favors, though. Matt's still in it, right? 4 games back means with a little bit of help in his 4th place schedule, he could still be playing in Week 14. This does unfortunately mean that I am pretty sure Amanda and Nick are mathematically eliminated. Sorry, guys. Here's the schedule for this week. These are names, and one of them is yours, and the other one is who you're playing. You know how schedule works. Let's see some of these matchups. Matt is not playing Scott. He's playing Carla, but I wanted to celebrate this matchup as being the first head-to-head game between Carla and her wee baby Connor and one of her siblings. So Matt is taking on Carla and the next generation of Rigsby's this week in a game that has playoff implications on both sides, right? Carla's playing for a top seed. Matt's playing for his way back into the playoffs. I'm taking on Nick in a game that goes way back. Also scheduled this one to take place the week the Lions play the Browns. So that was the little tweak that we had going into this. This picture was actually taken celebrating Carla's birthday in Kent, Ohio, of all places, in the fall of 2009. And if I remember correctly from the morning after this picture, all those beers made me throw up in the bathroom of this restaurant. So good memories all around. Speaking of memories involving Lions fans and Browns fans in Kent, Ohio, we also have a matchup between Cece and Michelle. You can see here, I think this is both of their goldfish impressions. And I'm calling this one the Sista Showdown in memories of when they lived together in Kent, and Celia would introduce Michelle to people as her sister, and then get really weird stares when I would come over to spend the night with what they thought was my other sister. So I am looking forward to seeing what happens in this showdown this week. Last thing, real quick, we're already looking forward to next season. If you are interested in continuing to play in this league, I've found that it's always best to get feedback before the season ends, because then people stop thinking about it and we end up scheduling drafts like one day in advance while people are in Scotland. So the big thing that I want your feedback on is if you have any opinion on whether we should stay on Yahoo or move this league to ESPN. There's benefits on both sides. Yahoo does give us the transaction trends, which I've been using, several people have been using, to help pick up free agents. It gives us the weekly recap, which I think is kind of cool if you read that. And it also gives us this league pick'em game, which I'm currently the only person playing, but I like to have a little challenge for myself. Brandon played in week 1, and I think Allison picked herself twice over the course of the season. If we wanted to stay with Yahoo, next season we might actually do something with this and see if people want to compete picking the winners of games over the league. ESPN has some great stuff too. Several people have said they prefer ESPN's leagues. One thing that's better about it is their message board has a little better interface. It gives you a lot of options for stuff you can do, including posting images and videos right into the message board, which is one thing that Yahoo really makes a pain in the neck. ESPN also lets you assign trophies for various matchups, which I think would be kind of fun. The big thing, though, would be that ESPN allows you to add punters, which is, for whatever reason, the one thing I'd really like to see this league do. So bear all these things in mind. I posted a link to a SurveyMonkey. If you don't mind taking 2 minutes to fill out, just if you're planning on playing next year, if you have a preference, Yahoo versus ESPN, and then any other things that you'd like to see change or different. That is it for me. Set your lineups and play fantasy football.